I'd like to end this particular segment by asking, how the wear and tear affects the bridges. So many of our viewers may not understand what's going on with the salt water, with the increased amount of vehicles that are going, the heavier vehicles. Talk to us about that in each of your districts, if you could just give us an example of what is really eating away at those bridges.
Sure, wave action. So even just daily wave action, but wave action during a hurricane, we all saw last year, Debbie, Helene, and Milton, those all took quite a toll on the bridges that we have across the bay. Also just being in a corrosive environment, the salt water, it eats away at the steel. And what a lot of people don't know is when the steel rusts, then the concrete pops off the steel. So it's a really interesting process. It is all chemistry, but there are ways to combat that, and we do the best we can with cathodic protection, but you can't stop everything. So it's a constant battle. We always say we're fighting Mother Nature every day with our bridges, but we do the best we can, to maintain them. And I will tell you this, every one of our bridges has exceeded their lives. So if we thought it was a 50-year bridge, they're now in the 70 years. Some of our 75-year bridges, they're crossing into, the 80, 90 years. So we're constantly seeing in Florida that our bridges are exceeding their useful life.
And Secretary Driggers, in your district, you've got these old drawbridges. How does Mother Nature affect those?
Many of the same points Justin shared, corrosive environment, increased growth and demand for utilization, all those things have an impact on the lifespan of our structures. As Justin alluded to, we have a very profound inspection program where we continually maintain and invest to make sure that things are safe and in full opportunity of operation.
There are no surprises.
Absolutely.
Okay. Hurricane response is also a big part of the mission of the Florida Department of Transportation. Secretary Driggers, I'd like to ask you about that. When the hurricanes come and the aftermath, how does the department work on those situations?
Absolutely. We're very appreciative of our partnerships. Not only in the district do we respond, we also rely on our other districts supporting us as well. Of course, other states. We had 3 major impacts. One being the Pine Island access road. We're very proud we were able to restore access in 3 days of 24/7 operation. We also had the Sanibel Island access, the emergency repairs, and then the permanent, which we're proud we just completed that, and we're actually going to win a national award, national recognition there. And then we had the State Road 789 sand deposition. We ultimately had 5 foot high piles of sand. We ultimately removed 60,000 cubic yards, partnered with the county to clean the material, and then restore the beaches and the dunes with the material as well.
To see the devastation in Sanibel was really dramatic. Tell us about the work that was done there.
Once again, just 24/7 operation. The task at hand was to get those emergency service providers, actively engaged and on the ground, and we worked hand over hand. We brought other partners in. It was just a 24/7 to get it done, deliver the mission.
And District 7 had the same amount of work when it came to Helene and Milton. How was that? How did FDOT workers come in and participate in that?
Yeah, so we had help from many of our different districts and as well as 4 other states. And it was funny, both storms were very different, and I'm sure everybody here lived them knows that. Helene was a very big water event, a lot of flooding in the coastal area. And believe it or not, that led to like a mission between the storms, because Helene came, caused a lot of damage, and then we had Milton coming to the same area. So we actually ran a 24/7 operation between the storms, actually collecting the debris, getting it out of the streets, because what people didn't realize is they were just trying to recover from Helene, and what we were doing was actually creating projectiles by putting couches and refrigerators out by the street. So the governor authorized us to run 24/7, which was huge, and we pulled about 150,000 cubic yards of material off of the barrier island before Milton got there. And then Milton hit, and it was a big power event. We lost power to 600 different signals, and so we had to have 600 generators out there being refueled around the clock for over a week, waiting on power to be restored. So a totally different storm, right? Big storm, totally different response, but the same thing. We had folks from the Panhandle that were down here to help us right away, and other states. And between the 2 storms, we moved about 500,000 cubic yards of material between sand and debris and all. And just to give you a perspective, if anyone drove by the Florida State Fairgrounds during it, they saw the mountains of debris, and 500,000 cubic yards is enough to fill up Raymond James Stadium. And so
many of our viewers will be surprised to learn that it's the Florida Department of Transportation that's engaged in that kind of work. Any lessons, what would you say is the biggest lesson learned for your district after all of the hurricanes?
Every storm, every experience is an iterative opportunity. Not only are we looking at how we can do better at the past event, we're also looking at proactive solutions. We're looking at opportunities to armor our roadways, our shoulders, so we can prevent undermining of our roadways, basically make it through the storm so that we can put our attention into those areas that may need more energy and effort to respond.
Yeah, Jamie?
Listen, it's the best thing that we do. I always say that the greatest mission at the DOT is being able to get out there and respond, and we are the first ones out there. So we always joke, we're like it's us and the sheriff, that are out there. And really, though, a lot of times, like on Gulf Boulevard, we had to clear the sand for the ambulances to get through. So really, our mission became a priority. And it brings a lot of joy, like to be able to say that you helped people. And I tell you what, I love my job for that.
The shoulders, you've both talked about the importance of the shoulders on the roadways and on the bridges. Yes. What can our community do to prevent those shoulders from being misused?
So first off, if there's an evacuation order, leave. Don't wait until the last minute. I'm sure everyone tells them that, because what we have to do, if we don't, we have to use something called emergency shoulder use running, and that actually allows people to use the shoulder to get out. The problem is some folks wait till the last minute, they don't have their gas tank full, they run out of gas, so then they block the shoulder. And so really just getting out early, and you don't have to go far. That's what we try to explain to everybody. Like if you're on the barrier island, if you just get to the mainland, you're gonna be good. And so that's one thing we tell everybody, you don't have to go too far, just be ready to get off the barrier island.